Hello everyone. In this video I'm gonna show you how you can retrieve the images from the Parse server, and we are going to use the created at key in order to modify our query. We are going to retrieve images from the Parse server first, and then we are going to use some query filters, and then we will get the images based on the created at attribute. So the created at attribute allows us to get the images in an ascending order or in an descending order. So let's do that. So first and foremost, you should already be familiar with the sign up and sign in process of the Parse server. And here you can see that inside the Java folder here, I have this main activity. So inside the main activity, I put the sign up code, and inside the login activity, I put the login code. And here I have this image list activity. I'm gonna delete this because I'm gonna create another activity with the same name. So let's go to the Android manifest.xml file. And here you can see that I put this filter, this intent filter for this login activity. So whenever we run the program, the login activity will be the main activity, the launcher activity. And here we also have this main activity, and that's it. So now let me close the Android manifest.xml file, and we need to create a new activity. So right click on this package that contains our files. I'm gonna go to new, and then go to activity, and then go to empty activity. Let's name it as image list activity. Okay, so here it's gonna also generate a layout file. Make sure this checkbox is checked, and the language is Java. Click on finish. So now let's go to this activity image list.xml file, switch to the design tab, and then here we're gonna drag a recycler view into our layout. So inside the palette section, I'm gonna click on this search icon, and then I'm gonna search for recycler view. So I'm gonna drag this recycler view and put it at the center of my layout. So it's gonna ask me to add the project dependency. This is very important. That's why you need the internet connection if you wanna create Android applications, because sometimes you are required to add a project dependency. So here it says this operation requires the library androidx.recyclerView. RecyclerView, would you like to add this now? You just need to say yes. Okay, just click on OK, and it's gonna add the components for you. Make sure that you have a fast internet connection or a reliable internet connection, and wait until this dependency is added to your project. Okay, so now that the recycler view is added to my constraint layout, now here it says that this view is not constrained. It only has design time positions, so it will jump to 00 at runtime unless you add the constraints. So here we need to add the constraints. Select this recycler view. At the right side, you can see the attribute section and the constraint widget. At the left, right, bottom, and top constraints. So now we have no errors. When it is done, we need to add another library to our project. It's an external library that allows us to display our image views in a circle shape or in a circular shape. So just go ahead and open your web browser. So now that you opened your web browser, here just search for Android circle image view. Just search for Android circle image view, and then here it's gonna show you this option, the first link that appears on the page. This is the link that you should click on, and let's wait. Okay, so if you scroll down here, you should see this library that we can use. So in order to use it, we just need to copy this line of code inside the Gradle section. Copy it and go to your Android Studio, and then go to your project structure here on the left side and click on build.gradle module app. And then inside the dependencies block, if we need to add this dependency here, and then click on sync now. So again, make sure that you have a reliable internet connection so you can add this library. And now it is done. Next, let's go into our Android view here. Make sure here it is Android. If it is not, click on it and select Android. And now we need to create a list item for our recycler view. Open the res folder and then go to the layout folder, right click on it, new, and then layout resource file. So let's name it as list, or let's say my list item. So the root element, let's change it to relative layout, because relative layout for the list item is more flexible and it is more useful. If you want to, you can use linear layout or constraint layout, but for this specific application, I'm going to use relative layout because it's a little bit simpler for the list items. And now click on OK. So this layout resource file is created. And now let's switch to the text tab. So inside this relative layout, let's go ahead and add an image view. We don't want just an image view, we want our circular image view. So here you can go to the web browser and you can simply copy this code, or you can just open a tag and type in here de dot. So it should already give you an option to use this image view, because inside the dependencies block you have added this dependency and you have synced the project. If it doesn't give you the option to add the image view, this might be that the Android Studio still doesn't recognize this dependency, this component. So you can go ahead and click on build at the top and then click on rebuild project. So when the process of rebuilding the project is finished, you can click on, you can just open a tag again and then type in here DE. So now the Android Studio recognizes this library. So this is one of the tricks I use whenever the Android Studio doesn't recognize the external library that I just added to the project. So I'm gonna select this one, and here you can set the wrap content and wrap content for the layout height and the layout width. Let's also specify an ID. So let's say the ID is my underline image view. Okay, and then close this tag. So let's go ahead and also, so you can click on this preview here on the right side, and you will be able to see the components that you added to the layout. So let's also add a dummy image to this image view. Let's just type in here src, and let's search for the IC launcher. Let's add this image view. This is just a placeholder, and then let's create a text view. So for the layout width, wrap content, and for the ID, let's say @+ ID / my text view. Okay. So I'm gonna add some more attribute to this text view. So as you can see, this is a relative layout. So first and foremost, I want my text view to be aligned at the right side of this image view. So I'm gonna say to right of. So this is an attribute that we can only use inside a relative layout. Remember, I'm gonna select this one. So I need to add the ID of the UI component that I want this text view to be at the right of. So I want this text view to be at the right of this image view. So this means that I need to refer to the ID of this my image view. So now this text view should be at the right side of this image view. Okay, so let's also add a text attribute for this text view. So let's say that the text is, this is it. Okay, so now I want to also center this text view vertically. So I'm gonna say center vertical true. Okay, so as you can see now, this text view is centered vertically inside this relative layout. So let's change the layout height of this relative layout to wrap content, because in this way now the content of this relative layout determines the height of this relative layout, because this relative layout is just going to be the layout of the items that we are going to have inside our list. So hopefully you are already familiar with this. Now let's change the text color of this text view to something else. I'm gonna say text color, and here you can select a color accent, color primary. Let's choose color accent. Let's also increase the size of this text view. So I'm gonna say text size to be 16 sp. Okay, so I think that's fine. So basically this is all we need for this specific application. So we want to get the image view from the server. We will also get a text from the Parse server. So now we also need a class, a new class that will play the role of a adapter for a recycler view. So just open the Android view again and then go to Java, or right click on this package, new Java class. Let's name this class to be RC, or recycler view adapter, and that's it. So I'm just gonna click on OK. So here inside this class we need to also create a new class that will play the role of the view holder. So I'm gonna say public class my view holder extends recycler view dot view holder. So recycler view dot view holder. So select it and then open and close this class. So here we have an error. We have this underline red error. It says there is no default constructor available in this view holder. So this means that the class my view holder should override or should create a constructor inside the class, because there is no empty constructor inside the recycler view holder, and we should create a constructor here, and we should call the constructor of the super class. So here I'm gonna let's just click on this red line here, hold down the Alt key, or if you are using Mac, hold down the Option key on your keyboard and then press on the Enter key on your keyboard. So when you do that, we can create a constructor matching the super. So when it is done, it will create a constructor for you, and it will also call the constructor of the super class. So this is how it is created. So now we need to declare an image view, the circle image view, inside this my view holder, and let's name it as circle image view or m circle image view. And let's also declare the text view, and let's say m text view. So these are the member variables of this my view holder. And remember that the job of the view holder here is to hold the items that we are going to have inside our list, and it will recycle them for us if we have, for example, more than the size, if we have more items than the size of the screen. Okay, for example, if we have 10 items and the screen can only hold or the screen can only show us 5 items at the same time, then this my view holder will recycle the items for us. So in this way it will use less memory and our application works more smoothly. So now that I declared this image view and this text view, let's go inside this constructor and let's initialize them. Let's say m circle image view, find view by ID. First we need to refer to this item view dot find view by ID r dot ID dot. So now make sure that you have given an ID to that image view. So mine is my image view semicolon, and for this m text view, item view dot find view by ID r dot ID dot m my text view semicolon. Okay, so now this class RC adapter should extend the recycler view dot adapter and then inside the angle brackets, we need to refer to this RC adapter dot my view holder. Okay, when you do that, it's going to show you this red line here, and it says that this RC adapter class must either be abstract or it should implement the abstract method. So we need to just select on this red line, hold down the Alt or Option key, press on Enter key on your keyboard, and then click on Implement Methods. When you do that, it's gonna select these methods for you: on Create Viewholder, Unbind Viewholder, and the Get Item Count. Just select all of them and click on OK. When you do that, it's gonna overwrite these methods for you. So now we need to add implementations to these methods. So before we implement or before we add implementations to these overridden methods, we need to create some variables inside the RC adapter class. So the first one will be private, and its type is going to be array list, and the type of this array list, the type of the values that we have inside the array list is going to be of type string. So the first one, let's name it as image texts. Assignment operator, new array list, semicolon. Private, again, array list. Let's say that the type is string, and let's say images. Assignment operator, new array list. Okay, so a pair of angle brackets and a pair of parentheses, semicolon. So I forgot to put this T here. Okay, now we also need a context. So I'm going to say context, semicolon. Let's also declare this context to be private. So now we also need a constructor for this RC adapter. So I'm just going to right click in an empty area here, go to generate, and select constructor, select all of these variables that we have inside our class, and click on OK. So when you do that, it's gonna just create a constructor for you with the image text and images and the context as the parameters of the constructor, and it will initialize our variables here like this. So hopefully that makes sense. Next, so the first method that we should implement is this one, on Create Viewholder. I'm just gonna return the null here. Just notice that this method on Create Viewholder must return a value of type MyViewholder. So this MyViewholder is the same as this class that we created here. So we need to return an object of type MyViewholder from this method. So first of all, we need to create a view. Let's say view assignment operator, and then just refer to the layout inflator dot from. So we need to pass the context here. So let's refer to this parent that we get as an argument from this on Create Viewholder dot get context. So now that we pass the context to this from here, now I'm gonna call dot inflate. So now let's refer to our layout resource file that we just created for the list items. So let's say r dot layout dot list item, my list item, comma, and we need to also pass the parent, the view group that we have for this list item. So I'm just gonna pass it here, comma, and the attached to root will be false. So the final argument will be false, semicolon. So let's see what we've done here. I just created a variable of type view. I said layout inflator that from, we passed the context, and then we called dot inflate. I passed the layout resource file that we just created for our list items, and the second argument is the parent, the view group, and the attached to root false. So now that we have the view, now we need to create a variable of type MyViewholder, because we must return a value of type MyViewholder. So I'm gonna say MyViewholder assignment operator, new MyViewholder, and then this MyViewholder constructor needs a value of type view. So I'm just gonna pass the view here, semicolon, and here I'm gonna say return MyViewholder. semicolon. So the implementation of this onCreate Viewholder is done. Now let's go ahead and implement these two methods, the getItemCount and the Unbind Viewholder. So I just implemented these two methods for you, so to save some time for you. So the getItemCount, you just need to know the size of the list. So I just refer to this array list, mimages.size, and the Unbind Viewholder. So we get the holder here as an argument from this method. So I'm just going to refer to this holder.m as circle image view. So this is the variable that we defined there. .set image bitmap, and then we refer to this array list mimages.get position. So the position is the position of that image inside that list. Now let's go inside the image list activity class. So here you can see that inside the class I declared two variables. One of them is bitmaps, and so it is an array list of bitmaps, and the second one is the image texts, an array list of string values. Inside the onCreate method here, I am declaring the recycler view. I am referring to this ID, and then I am defining the RC adapter, and then here I am creating a new object of type RC adapter, and I am passing the image texts as the first argument, bitmaps, and the context. And finally, I am setting the adapter of the recycler view, RC adapter, and then I am setting the layout manager to be linear layout manager. So the items will be positioned vertically, okay? So this is the meaning of this linear layout manager. And here I am creating a parse query. So parse query, parse object query. And here we want to get the photo class. So let me show you the parse server. So inside the parse server here, I clicked on the create a class, and I created a new class named as photo. So if you want to create a class, you just need to click on create a class. So the type should be custom here, as you can see, and then you can give it a name. So in my case, it is named as photo. Okay, so let me cancel it. So here it is the photo class, and then here it should have a column named as a picture. So if you want to add a column here, it has an option says add a new column. So here we also have these two items here, and one of them is add a column, one of them is add a row. So if you want to add a column, either click on this one or this one here. You can set the type to be parse file. Okay, make sure that the type is file here, and then you can give it a name. So in my case, it is named as picture. You can name it as image, and the default value, you don't need to specify a default value, and you don't have to set the required field to be yes. Just create this column as I did here, a picture, and then I uploaded a picture here. So here it will show you an option to upload a picture here if you click on it. And then so in my case, I have already uploaded a picture, so you can upload a picture here, and then when it is done, you can go back to Android Studio. So here I created a query for the photo class, and here I want to look at the images, or I want to retrieve the images as in an ascending order. So I said query.ascending order created at. Ascending order means that from old to new, from the old image that we created, from the oldest image that we created to the newest image. And we also have at descending order, and that we are going to take a look at in a moment. And then we are going to get the data in the background. So query find in background, new find callback. And then inside the done method, first we make sure that the objects.size is greater than 0, and then we make sure that the error is equal to null. And then when it is done, we are going to iterate over the objects that we get as a list from the parse server. So these are the parse objects that we get, and then we are going to first get the parse file. So object.get parse file picture. So notice that I am referring to this picture column that I created here. So here object.get parse file picture, and here we receive the parse file, and then we are going to download the parse file in the background. So parse file.get data in the background, get callback, and then we have this done. So notice that this get callback means that it's gonna get the data in the background, and it's gonna notify us when it is done, when the process of getting the data from the background is done. And here the done method is actually called whenever this process is finished. So here I have to do something. First, I have to make sure that the data dot length, or let's say the data dot length is greater than 0, and then make sure that the error is equal to null. So if error e is equal to null, and then go ahead and I'm gonna cut these codes and paste them here. So here it is safer to call these methods. So here I'm going to get the bitmap. So bitmap factory that decode a byte array. So I pass the data that I get from the Parse server as an byte array, and the offset is 0. And finally, as the last argument, we need to pass the data.length. And then here I am referring to this array list that I created above in bitmaps dot add bitmap. And then here I will notify the adapter or the recycler view that something has changed. A data has been downloaded from the internet. So let's go ahead and run the program. So if you're running this program from the program that we created earlier, the parse image verification, make sure that you set the launcher activity to be the image list activity, as I did here. So let me show you that here. So here it is my activity, the image list activity tag, and here I put this intent filter. So now the image list activity is the main and the launcher activity. Make sure to put these codes here if it is, for example, inside the login activity or the main activity. It should be put here. So now let's run the program and see the result. Okay, so you can see that we have this image, this radio image first, and then we have this Instagram image. So you can see that the order is an ascending order, because here inside the image list activity, here I have used this filter for my query. I said query.add ascending order created at. So the created at is the key that we have here for our column, right? So this key tells us about the date and the time that this image has been uploaded to the server. So here in my case, this radio image has been uploaded before this Instagram image. So this means that if I say ascending order, it will show me the radio image first and then the Instagram image. But if I change this add ascending order to add descending order, it's gonna show me the Instagram image first, and then it's gonna give us the radio image. So let me run the program and show you the result. So now you can see that the Instagram image has been shown to us first, and then the radio image. So hopefully that makes sense. Here in this video, I just wanted to show you how you can order these items in an ascending or descending order. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.